Today's video, I'm talking about my 4 tips for what to look for when you're evaluating a new build property. Tip number 1 is don't be the highest priced property on the block. What I mean by that is the way that new builds prices are derived often are from not only market value or the market demand, but also from the cost of materials and the cost of labor at that time. So if you get carried away with upgrades and expensive add-ons and materials and you end up with a very high purchase price, that may not translate over to market value in the event that you are forced to sell your new build property in a very short time after building it. So you always want to make sure that there are some comparables that are a little bit higher priced to you in case something like that were to happen. Number 2, put more weight on structural options than cosmetic options when you're making your selections in your upgrades. Because as you go over time, as you live in your property, things like additional square footage from a bump out or a third car garage or a rough-in in your basement for a bathroom or a higher ceiling height in your basement, all of these things are costs that can be directly translated to value over time because they add something to your house that it's not going to change, versus something like a certain type of tile or a certain paint color. Those are all cosmetic things that trends change over time, and it's quite possible that the very expensive tile you selected now is not on trend in the next 10 years. And so there's not as much value in a selection like that as there is going to be in something more material like additional square footage or those other things I just mentioned. Number 3, as you're evaluating different new build properties, you want to pay very close attention to the lots. Sometimes you might pay a lot premium for a certain style lot. Sometimes you might receive a discount for another type of lot. What I would say is, depending on the community, sometimes the cost difference isn't that much, and it may be worth it to go ahead and get that better lot that will have a better value over time. For example, a lot that backs up to a wooded area, or a lot that backs up to a pond, or maybe it has a better view or a better location within the development. These things can definitely help you and might be seen as a superior feature as to maybe the standard lot that backs up to 4 different neighbors in the backyard or something like that. Number 4 is regarding evaluating your additional costs. So obviously you've got the cost of the property, but a lot of new builds nowadays come with a community development charge. Sometimes there's additional taxes or HOA fees that you want to make sure you're aware of exactly what your costs are and what you're responsible for after you close on the property. Sometimes a builder might offer a tax incentive like a 50% tax abatement, but if they add on a community development charge that completely offsets that tax abatement, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you want to be aware of what your true costs are. So pay very close attention to those types of fees and charges when you are evaluating your new build properties. All right, so there you have it. Those are my 4 tips when looking into new build communities.